Welcome back to my channel. If you're only here for WNBA content, it's been a little bit since I last saw you, but yeah, we're back. It's nice to see you again. And if you're here for all my prediction videos, well, these are my favorite videos to make. And in today's video, predicting the 2024 WNBA bracket. Controversial bracket this year. They've changed the format. It is now 8 teams making it. Best of 3 first round, best of 5 semis, and then best of 5 finals. So yeah, we're going to start with the Liberty and Dream here, 1v8. It's a pretty easy decision. The Liberty have been the best team in the league all year. The Dream barely made it in, and they're under 500. Ryan Howard could get hot, could be electric, and make it difficult for the Liberty, but in reality, there's not really a big chance the Liberty lose this series. Like, a lot would have to go right for the Dream just for them to take one game. But to take 2 and win the series, it's a little crazy. So I'm taking the Liberty in 2 games here. Got the 4-seeded Aces, obviously repeat champions, looking for the 3-peat this year versus the Seattle Storm. Aces regular season was a fluke. They dealt with injuries. They just didn't win games that they're accustomed to winning. It was a little crazy. They started to figure it out towards the end of the year, but Chelsea Gray was hurt. She came back, didn't have her rhythm, still a little wonky. Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, they all have been in and out of the lineup. They just haven't been the aces we've known the past 2 years, and that's why they're at the 4 seed. They've been bad for their standard, and they are the 4 seed. This team's very good. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. So I look at it. Aces, first of all, let's talk about the Storm before we get into our prediction. The Storm is a very difficult matchup for them. Nyeka Agumbake, she is the most efficient player in the league right now, I believe. She's going to be a difficult matchup for Asia. Probably matches up best for anyone you would get in the first round if you're the Aces. So that's something to keep an eye on out for. Skylar Diggins-Smith has been very good this year. Jewel Lloyd has been a little bit down this year, but if she gets it going, Aces could be in trouble. So this isn't going to be an easy series at all for the Aces. The Storm could win this series, and I would not be surprised. But at the same time, Asia Wilson is by far the best player in the league, and she's not going home round 1 unless something crazy happens. So I'm going to be taking the Aces in, how many games I say? Aces in 3. That's what I thought. So yeah, I expect the Storm to get 1. But it's going to be a good series. Definitely mark it on your calendar when they play. For the next matchup, we have the Minnesota Lynx versus the Phoenix Mercury. Phoenix Mercury, obviously, are a good team, even though they're 7 seed. They are not a 7 seed on paper. WNBA just got a lot of really good teams this year, and it doesn't help that they've had injury concerns and stuff like that. Kalia Copper is very good. She's the best player on this team. Also got Brittany Griner, Diana Taurasi in her final stages of her career. Who knows? This could be her last playoff run. This could be her last season. It's either going to be this year or next. I don't see her playing another 2 years. So that's a storyline, but in reality, the Lynx defense is extremely good. Now, the Lynx do have a little half-court issues, but the Mercury defense isn't good enough to really exploit that at this point, in my eyes at least. The Lynx will have a little moments where they struggle since they have half-court issues, but in reality, I just don't see the Mercury being able to do stuff on their defense. I believe, let me check my notes. Yeah, the Lynx were 3-1 this season against the Mercury, and I believe the one game they lost, Nafisa Collier did not play. But don't ask me. But I will say, this is an upset watch. This is a series I will be watching. Nafisa Collier is my favorite player. I like the Lynx team, so I'm going to be in tap on this series. But yeah, I got the Lynx winning it in 2 games. I think they're just going to dominate the Mercury twice. That's just my personal opinion. And for the best matchup in the first round, 3v6. This is got me pulling my hair out because it's the Connecticut Sun, who have been the most consistently good team of the past few years in the WNBA. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You can always mark them down as a top 3 seed. And guess what? They're a top 3 seed again this year. Alyssa Thomas didn't have an MVP caliber year, but she's still the engine for this team. Dewana Bonner's good. Um, I know I'm forgetting someone. They added Marina Mabry, um, Carlton. They got a lot of good players, all right? However, they struggle in the half court. And every close game they have comes down to the fact they can't score in the half court easily. And if they're not getting transition points, they are struggling to score. But Connecticut Sun do turn teams over a lot, so that gets exploited. But when the game gets close and late in game, and the other team is not as careless with the ball, that's when the Connecticut Sun start to score. Now, the Fever are a very young team. Turning them over will be easy. But the Fever have two half-court scorers in Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. They have a quality big that can score, can rebound, can set screens. Aaliyah Boston just knows how to play basketball the right way. And that is something for a center that if you have a center that plays basketball the right way, it is very difficult to game plan for that. So having a bunch of players around her, even though they're youth, they're a young team. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell as a trio is going to be very difficult to game plan for. And that's why I inevitably think that the Sun will be upset by the Fever, and the Fever will be moving on in 3 games because I don't trust the Sun's offense, and I feel like I trust the younger team more in the clutch. And that's so weird to say. Because you got to prove it, but at the same time, they're one of the hottest teams in the league, and they're heading right into playoffs. So, yeah, it's going to be a great matchup. I don't want to bet against the Sun. Don't get me wrong. Every year I've been like, the Sun are very good, but they can't score in the half court. So I'm going to go with the Fever here. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes anyway. I said Fever in 3, right? I said the 3. All right. Round number 2, we got the 1-seeded Liberty versus the 4-seeded Aces. The Liberty. We didn't focus on them much in their first round because their first round's going to be a breeze. I am a Liberty fan. I do think we were the best team in the league, most consistent team in the league, at least this year. But our players struggle with physicality and are very perimeter oriented, and the Aces exploited that last year in the playoffs, and it could be exploited again this year. Aces are the worst matchup for the Liberty in my eyes, but the Aces have also been inconsistent and whatnot. But I don't know. I think Asia's just a better player at this point than anybody, and whoever you put on her, if you're the Liberty, not going to make a difference. It's about the other characters like Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and the supporting cast and bench. I do think the Liberty are a deeper team at this point. At least their depth has consistently produced better. That's why I'm going to lean Liberty, since they do have a more consistent whole team. Sorry. But I don't want to say the Aces are going to lose. So it's because, again, the Aces have been the best team in the NBA the past 2 years. But a three-peat's hard. Liberty want revenge. Liberty have handled business against them. Brianna Stewart is warming up too, and last year she was cooling down in the playoffs, and they didn't get the best Brianna Stewart in the second and championship rounds. But at the same time, it's because they're playing physical teams in the Connecticut Sun and the Aces. So if the Aces bring physicality and play a physical brand of basketball, I think they'll win the series. But if it's not like that, I'm going to go with the Liberty. And I'm going to go with the Liberty just because I trust them more based on what I saw this year. Simple as that. You got to look at this year, not history in this situation. So yeah, Liberty in 5. Could go anyway, though. Then for the other matchup, we got the Lynx versus the Fever. My heart wants to pick the Lynx, but my gut is telling me to go with the Fever. That's difficult to digest, think about. Um, hmm. Caitlin Clark versus Nafisa Collier. Nafisa Collier's had her way with the Fever, though, throughout the entire season. There's no doubt in that. She has been extremely good this year against this Fever team. And I think that continues as she's the veteran. She's the best player in the series. Caitlin Clark's the second. But I'm going to go Lynx here since their defense. Now, I will say, Caitlin Clark matches up. Like, I don't see the defenders that the Lynx have being able to handle Caitlin Clark, but the other players can definitely handle the supporting cast around Caitlin Clark. So, in my opinion, I just think the Lynx are going to win this series. I would look at Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell figuring things out, figuring out a way to beat them, I should say. But at the same time, the Lynx have been the best defense all year. Sure, just like the Sun, they struggle in the half court. But Nafisa Collier has dominated this team in the regular season. Like, absolutely dominated. Like, check the stats. Went off against this team all year. And when you have a player that's dominant as your best player, like the difference between the Lynx and the Sun's best player is Alyssa Thomas. She's not an offensive scorer. She's not going to go out and get a bucket. Nafisa Collier can. And that's ultimately why I'm going to take the Lynx over the Fever in 4 games. I think the Fever will get one, but it's going to be a 4-game series. And that brings us to the WNBA Finals. I hate to do a 1v2, but yeah, Liberty versus Lynx. It could be the Aces versus Lynx too. I wouldn't be surprised either way. But my notes say Collier is the best player in the series, which is true. I agree with that because I think she's better than Breanna Stewart at this moment in time. But I do need to say, her defense on Stewie is going to be one of a kind because Collier is a great defender. She's physical and can guard on the perimeter. That is the worst matchup for Breanna Stewart. Like, don't expect much from her if these teams match up. That is the worst matchup you could handpick for Breanna Stewart. All right. So I'm looking at that. She's going to be neutralized. This Lynx team's defensive schemes have been good. Jonquel Jones, I haven't mentioned her in this video. I should have. Jonquel Jones, she's been amazing this year, way better than last year. She's going to have to be a difference maker, but at the same time, the Lynx do have the size to match up with her, so we'll see how that goes. The guard play from Sabrina Ionescu and Courtney Vandersloot, it's going to be disrupted by the Lynx defense. And ultimately, I think the Lynx defensive game planning is going to be similar to what we saw in from the Aces last finals. And that is why I'm going to take the Lynx in 5 games to win the WNBA Finals of 2024. Now, I did pick this with my heart, but I am a Liberty fan. So at the same time, did I really pick it with my heart? No. But if you watch my content, you know I don't trust my teams. Suns fan, don't trust them. Yankees fan, don't trust them. Liberty fan, don't trust them. Chiefs fan, I don't know how I don't trust them, but I don't. So it's just like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Liberty did win. I think the WNBA Finals is going to come down to 3 teams. The Aces, Liberty, or Lynx. One of those 3 teams is going to win. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Let me know who you got winning the 2024 WNBA Finals. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Y'all stay safe. Have a good one. Bye.